All right, guys. So my name is Matt Arnold. I am an IFBB Pro in men's physique. I am the founder of Team Arnold, head coach of Team Arnold. I have Pierce Copeland over here, my right-hand man, also working with me as a coach under Team Arnold. And this will be our first podcast kind of talking about, how he just turned pro in OCB, his experience, and we're just kind of talk, shoot the shit, and just kind of go from there. So here we are.
Awesome.
How you feeling, man?
I feel good. I think my mental is a lot better now. I think I actually finally took it into consideration that I got my pro card.
Yeah.
Legitimately. One of my friends actually had reached out to me, and he did the Texas Pro. What was that? 3 weeks ago. And now he's going to nationals in Pittsburgh, and he's doing, is it Universe in Pittsburgh?
Universe, yeah.
So he kind of had the same mental block as well, where he won Texas Pro but didn't even get to celebrate it because he was like, I'm 2 weeks out from the next Universes, so I have to go straight into it.
When I said that, I didn't mean it in terms of celebration. I meant in terms of how do you feel about, sweeping the whole show, your first prep, winning, your debut class, your novice class, your open class, taking the overall in all of those classes, and then also getting your pro card for your very first run.
All these medals, just hardware like crazy.
Because I know after the show, we went to get food with Austin, and I could tell that what just happened hadn't quite fully hit you. And I can totally relate to that because when I turned pro, it didn't hit me that day.
Yeah, even yesterday, didn't really register that I was, one, a pro, but then two, completely sweeping the entire class. I went into the entire show with no expectations.
Which is what you should do. Yeah.
I knew all the work that we put in, the amount of time and energy into the prep. Literally never cheated on the nutrition at all. Did the workouts with the intensity that we were scheduled for, the protocols that we did check-ins every single time that we needed to, on time and exactly how we needed to. So I checked all the boxes. So mentally I'm stepping into that show and I'm like, yes, this is my first show ever, but I feel almost comfortable. Because even Brielle was saying to me, she was like, when you were on that stage, it was, yes, it's your first time, but it almost looked like it was effortless for you. And I don't know if that's just because in high school, thespian, in college, I was doing shows and everything. So stage presence wise, I'm fine. So going up on stage, I don't have nervousness, but presenting my package, hitting all the poses, doing all the mandatories, looking at the judges, smiling at them, making sure the crowd was actionable and everything, that came very easy to me, and I don't know how. I don't know why. It was just I had no nerves. I had nothing that was anxiety driven at all. It was just I showed up there. I knew the package that I was delivering, and if I won, it's an added bonus. It's cherry on top. If I didn't, then at least I get feedback to know exactly what I need to work on.
Yeah. And, I think that energy kind of translated into me as a coach. Because for me, that was probably the most relaxed that I've ever been on, the other side of things. Seeing you step on stage and, seeing you the morning of the show, you and Austin, I knew you guys were ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew exactly what to do just because I had all the data tracked. We already ran, a trial run prior to that.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. For Austin, he has another show too. So that was kind of his trial run. But what I'm saying is, it put me at ease knowing, I had all the data already tracked. Right. We knew exactly what weight was a good, target to hit before, we started the refeeds, and you were staying insulin sensitive with everything. But yeah, it was a smooth prep for sure. For your first one, you handled it really well.
Very smooth. I think also the thing too, because people have asked me as well in terms of the prep as well, they keep asking the same thing, oh my God, the level of dieting, the level of nutrition that you have to do in terms of really depleting yourself and everything. That's where people say that it's hard and it's difficult. I don't know why. It was just very easy for me. Yes, I think the mentality going into the prep is I already knew that shit was going to get really difficult towards the end, obviously, because especially before peak week, you're really depleting your body. but I went into it knowing that was going to happen. So the mentality was already there that I was having to dial it in as fully to the extent that I could.
Yeah.
But I'm already a disciplined person. Like before I even went on to prep, before I even got into bodybuilding, I was very regimented in terms of what I put into my body. So nutrition in general for me, I always eat relatively clean. And I've always been tracking for the past, like, honestly, 5 to 6 years. So,
well, I obviously showcased too because
it just came very, very natural to me.
Yeah.
So it was like easy. So I'm not saying that prep is easy by any means. For a lot of people,
No,
I think it's very difficult.
Different for everyone. Yeah.
And I think it's just the level that you go into it and the expectations that you have for yourself, setting it up before you even go into prep.
Yeah.
And then I think your coach makes a huge difference out of it too. Obviously, one, just having a coach in general is honestly a mandatory for any sort of prep. But you being a pro level coach, you've already become a pro, you've done your Olympia qualifications and doing your pro debuts. You set that standard for me as an athlete, so that coupled with my disciplinary actions of just being regimented alone, I think that also set me up for success, because I was back there and it was my first show and everybody was asking me questions like, what do I do next? When do I go on? What poses do I hit? All of these things. And I'm still a novice. I'm like, I'm just doing what I was told by my coach. I'm going to go out there and hit my poses. I'm going to do the mandatories. I'm going to do everything that I was told to do. If it all works out, perfect, which it did. Got first in debut, novice, and open.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize too. It's like, you know, a lot of the pressure, or most of the pressure, falls on the coach. Because an athlete, a good athlete, what they're supposed to do is just follow protocol. And if you don't follow protocol, then your coach is not going to know what the fuck to do.
At all.
Yeah. So the fact that you followed everything to a T, obviously I trusted you. I knew you were on your shit. It made it a lot easier for me to prep you.
Yeah.
And from past experiences, you know, the biggest thing too, from a coaching perspective, is to not crash diet, not deplete too quick. And if you do that, it could turn, you know, disastrous. And it could leave a sour taste in, you know, your mouth with bodybuilding if things don't go the right way the first time, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, going back to the mentality side of things, that's also why it's I don't think that I was able to mentally celebrate it as much as I should have, because I knew that in 2 weeks' time, and we're going to be doing Heart of Texas for NPC, which to me was our main goal. Like, NPC is the height of everything, because IFBB status and everything is what we're chasing. The OCB show.
Yeah, this is just a start.
Right.
Yeah.
The OCB show is literally just like
start, though.
Preliminary. I know, and then sweeping the entire show.
You have fucking more medals than me, and I've done 7 shows. I mean, I have a pro card, but I don't have that many medals.
Yeah, winning all clean sweeps.
I have to look, actually. I think we have the same amount, but given the fact that you've done 1 show and I've done 7, that's kind of funny. It's kind of ridiculous. I want one of those medals.
I gotta figure out a place to put it. Like, I don't even know where I'm gonna put that, and then even my pro card and everything. But I'll
put that in my office.
Yeah. I want to frame it, honestly, and I want to do what you did, where you got the frame and you did your board shorts and your picture that you got whenever you got the...
Karina did that for me.
So Karina did
Yeah, that was a Christmas present.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I turned pro in 2023 in December. The first time they did national championships here in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she actually got me that gift right after I turned pro.
Yeah, I want to do that with my board shorts and everything. Brielle, so I'll have her reach out to Karina for that and everything. But yeah, no. I just think that I'm so focused on like the goals that I have, and my next goal immediately after this show is Heart of Texas. So I didn't register that like I turned pro. Let's take some time to celebrate and like have an actual rest day and just like decompartmentalize everything, and then have the mental space to go back into the 2-week prep of setting myself up for Heart of Texas. I think I just got my pro card. Okay, let's go fucking conquer NPC now. Yeah. So I just like went straight into that.
You know, I think the craziest thing about, you know, everything that happened a few days ago was the fact that you were my right-hand man with Team Arnold, you know, helping me alongside coaching, and you were my first pro athlete under Team Arnold.
All in one.
Yeah. And it was your very first show.
Yeah.
which is crazy. So that was a monumental moment for not just you as an athlete, me as a coach, and our team.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because you had texted me after the show and you said, like, this is a moment that we would never forget, which completely, like, for the rest of our lives, we'll never forget this. But you had said you have never experienced this as a coach with all of your athletes, not just because I turned pro, but the fact that I got a clean sweep, got the overall, turned pro, very first show, and I'm your right-hand man. So for you to experience that, I wanted to ask you, like, what your thought process was while you were in the crowd watching me up there, like what all that was like for you.
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think it's quite hit me yet.
Yeah.
No.
It's not both of us either.
No, I don't think it's quite hit me yet. And I think it'll hit me a little bit more, you know, as things progress, especially with NPC. Just because with OCB, I wasn't too familiar with, you know, the structure of things, what was going on. And everything that day was just kind of like new to me as well. So it was like, I mean, I saw you on stage. I saw you win the debut overall, and the guy that you went up against, obviously, I saw him, and it was in the back of my head before the whole show even started. I saw him backstage. I was like, it's going to be a battle between you and him. And then as soon as I saw you win the overall for, you know, debut, I was like, oh, okay, Pierce is going to sweep the whole show now. So it kind of registered to me right at that moment. Then. So I had time to kind of like soak it in while you were on stage the whole time. I was like, okay, boom, debut done, novice done, open, let's go. And then as soon as like I saw you guys both back on stage, I was like, this is it. This is the sweep.
See, that's the crazy thing too, is for me as the athlete backstage while you're in the crowd registering that in your mind. I think for athletes in general, when you're backstage, it could be very overwhelming for you as the athlete because if you haven't looked up the athletes ahead of time, which some people do, like, because they'll have the athlete sheet, they'll show all the names of all the people, so you could easily look up these people online and go to Instagram and like look up their pages. That alone is going to create stress. I didn't do any of that. I didn't look up a single person.
As you shouldn't. You should never be looking up like who your competition is ever, because it's just going to play mind tricks.
Right, it's just going to be mind games. But then whenever you're backstage, let's say you do what I did and you just don't look anybody up, that's going to make it, I think, sometimes even more stressful because you're like, okay, I'm going to be going up against him. I'm going to be going up against him. They kind of look like I'll easily beat them. It's going to be me against these guys. And that was the only thing that I did was I saw him and I was like, I guarantee it's going to come down to the overall and it's going to be between him and I. So my only focus was just making sure I hit every single pose, do everything correctly, and then whenever it comes time for the overall, make sure that I'm not flat, and then he's just looking a better package to me on stage, which that's what I was nervous about. The thing with OCB, they did everything back to back to back to back to back to back to back. So
which is good.
It's good, but it's bad for me in terms of the overall.
In terms that because you started to get flatter.
Because it was literally, I was up on stage for 25 straight minutes. Yeah. I went from debut, pose, did the finals, and then they awarded me the thing. Went straight back off stage. They go straight to novice. Did the pose, did the finals. They awarded me, went back off stage, and then I keep just coming back and forth.
And that's what makes it so hard as a coach too, because if you don't know the exact regimen of what they're doing, because they changed it, right? And if I had known that they were doing everything back to back to back, I would have given you more water and more food to fill you up.
Smack a rice cake as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah, but every show's different, and they always change things last minute a lot of times. So you just gotta, be prepared, and it also helps that when your coach is there to keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
But circling back to the whole competition thing, I remember in 2023 when I was backstage, there were 37 people in my national class. Yeah. And I remember so well. I was backstage at the Irving Convention Center, and I was like, it's this or nothing, man. Like, if I don't turn pro, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. And I was looking at the competition, and I was seeing all the guys, and I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way. And, it came to Class F, and they called us out. I was on the end, and then I immediately got moved to center. I stuck there, and I didn't move once. And after that, I was like, damn, I just turned pro. I just beat all those guys backstage. And it's like, it's one of those things too where, you know, you look at the competition backstage and it may be intimidating, but
there's so many variables.
There's so many variables when it comes down to, you know, the timing of things, you know, the judging panel too. That has a huge play in your placing because judges look for different things, obviously. So,
well, there's a lot that goes into it. There's people that don't get 2 coats of tan, and that's noticeable. There's people that forget to do a glaze afterwards, and that glaze can make a huge thing. I mean, summer shredding, whenever we experienced that with that level of happening and everything, dude walked out on stage, didn't have a glaze, and it showed comparable to everybody else. Lighting makes a difference. Your thickness of your skin. Backstage, you can look completely different than stage lighting. Like, there's so many different variables. So, again, all the more reason.
It's a very subjective sport, too.
Right.
Yeah.
All the more reason not to focus on your competition. You literally show up there with the package that you are delivering, and if you have done everything right leading up to that show day, then all you can do is deliver that result.
Yeah, and that's all you got to do as an athlete, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's, you know, you did everything leading up to that point, you know, to bring the best package. You did, you know, everything as instructed to do. So what is there to worry about?
Right.
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk about with you in terms of the NPC side of things, because I won't experience this until Heart of Texas. This is a competition at the end of the day. So there is some ego involved. Like, everybody is doing the same thing in terms of everybody's on a prep. They're working out as hard as they can. Everybody's level of intensity is different. Nutrition is all different. Everybody's body is different. Yes, but you're all doing the same thing by prepping to then get to that stage and that day of the competition. But because it's a competition, there's a level of sport involved with it. So there are some egos involved. I had 2 of the guys that were back there, the main guy that was with me for the overall, and then the other guy in his class, and they were looking at me the entire time, and it was one of those things where I just looked at their eyes, and it was almost like they were like, all right, fuck you, like, it's gonna be you and I type of thing, and they were looking at me as if like, all right, you're my competition, and they would go out first because they were class A and I was class B, so they knew that they weren't gonna see me until the overalls, so they would look me up and down, and I swear to God, they looked at me, they're like, all right, let's fucking go type of thing, and I'm like, why are you guys looking at me like this?
I've never experienced that, actually.
There was no like ego type of thing where it's like,
Yeah.
all right, like, this is gonna be a battle and like it's gonna be you and me, and they just like look you up and down and just kind of like give you a little bit of an arrogance sort of look.
Yeah.
That's what I experienced with those 2 guys. But I'm like, it's also OCB and it's everybody there was a novice, so I don't understand why they were bringing that level of energy. But
Probably because they were expecting, you know, to show up and be the best package there until they saw you, and they had a little fire in them to, you know, like, maybe scare you.
Yeah.
To some degree, I'm not sure.
I think the coolest experience for me though was, and it hit me a little bit, but I think the coolest experience for me was whenever she announced at the end, when I like after all the medals, and then I had gotten my pro card and I had won. And she had like announced to the entire crowd, like, I want you guys all to know that this is his very first show ever. It's his very first time on stage doing this entire thing, and he got a clean sweep and a pro card. And the entire crowd was like, what the fuck? Like, no way. Type of thing. That hit me. It's still like holding the pro card and everything. I still was like, I don't know what to do right now. But like hearing her say that and being like, that just solidified it for me in terms of everything that we put into work before and on the prep before leading up to the stage. Like, we did our job and we showed up.
Yeah,
that
we took care of
definitely
business,
hit me,
man.
Completely. And I made a lot of friends. A lot of the competitors actually followed me on Instagram after that, and they were
that's the
messaging
cool
me.
thing about bodybuilding. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're your competition, but, you know,
It's a respect factor at the end of the day. Like,
yeah, it's a mutual type of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like me and Thomas, we turned pro together at nationals, and we stay connected all the time. We did Republic of Texas together, and you know, he's fucking killing it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting 5th place. He got 5th place at Texas Pro, 5th place at Legion. So it's really cool to see him, you know, doing his thing, staying on prep, and you know, he's got a bright future for sure.
Very much so.
Let's talk about what you were taking
Yeah.
on prep.
So
yeah, it's completely valid.
No, it's true.
It's we looked up the guidelines. Yeah, we looked up the guidelines for OCB, what the regulations were, what you can take, what you can't take, and we capitalized on what we could take.
Right. And that's so to set the standard straight, what we're talking about is PEDs in general, enhancements, all that stuff, and like what's natural versus what's not. With OCB, so that you guys are clear in terms of the federations, OCB is a drug tested natural competition. And what I experienced for this is they did, I don't know if every single OCB competition is like this, but they did a polygraph test for ours, which that was weird. They literally hooked me up to a lie detector test and asked me questions. That was funny for me. Some of the questions.
You've been smoking weed.
Yeah, they asked me if 12 hours prior to the competition, have I smoked any marijuana? They asked me if I
smoked weed 24 hours prior to the competition.
So I said no. I did smoke, but it wasn't 12 hours. I don't even know how that would have done anything. Regardless, they have on the OCB website as a whole, they have a list of every single banned substance. And I mean, it's a plethora of them. It's every single type of thing that you can think of. I went through the entirety of it, and even what I was taking was not on that list. So I am still considered a natural athlete. I am a natural athlete. The only things that I was taking is SLU, PP, 500, 300, whatever, SLU. And then
injectable L-carnitine, which I put them on because the bioavailability of injectable L-carnitine is 100% versus oral carnitine.
So I was injecting, but it's a natural substance, and it's enhancing a little bit of the effects of the.
It's taking an oral, 30% is going to pass through your system, or injecting it. It's the same exact fucking thing. It's just, are you going to be a pussy and, be scared of taking a needle?
True.
Injecting with a needle, or are you going to take the oral, which is 30 to 50% bioavailability?
Right.
So you're gonna have an edge, obviously, if you're injecting L-carnitine.
You also metabolize them completely different. If you're taking the oral one and you have food or something beforehand, it's gonna metabolize with the food so fast. So the bioavailability that he's talking about, you're gonna go through it before you're even working out, which is basically negating any of the benefits that it's gonna have for you while you're hitting those workouts, and then the actual benefits that you get afterwards. So that's why we did the injectable.
And with the L-carnitine, with the concentration of it, it's not like, because obviously I'm enhanced. I've blasted a lot of gear. I've ran pretty much every single compound you can think of. It's not the same type of injection. The density, the fluid concentration of L-carnitine, it's a lot smoother. So the gauge of the needle that you would have to use as opposed to testosterone, primobolan, deca, any type of nandrolone, whatever, it's not going to leave as much scar tissue.
Right. Yeah, I never even experienced any. I really don't even think I experienced anything until the end, but that was mainly because I have no fat storage on my body. So it's just.
Yeah, it's just a small little glute injection. You can inject it in so many ways. You can do your lats, your delts. You can use an insulin needle, or I prefer not using insulin needles just because when you load it, then it'll dull the needle and it'll actually kind of fucking hurt. And I'm not a bitch, but
it does hurt.
Yeah, if you load it with an insulin needle and then you try to inject, that's gonna hurt a lot more than using a thicker gauge needle, in my opinion.
I had one stick one time. It was I didn't even inject it with I pulled it with a 30 gauge. No, what did I do it with? I did the regular to pull it, and then I put
Did
the
you
30
accidentally
gauge on.
inject with a 21?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a
So
thicker
for
one.
reference, the 21 gauge is what they use at a hospital to basically draw blood. Yeah, that's a thick ass fucking needle.
And I didn't bring my 30 gauge with me, so I just had to do the 21, and it was a thick ass thing. And I put it into my glute, and I started to bleed a little bit, but
yeah,
it hurt like a bitch. But I mean, we're here. But no, literally, other than SLU and the L-carnitine, that's all I took. Otherwise, completely natural. I mean, it's natural in general. But that's all that I took in terms of, I guess, PEDs or supplements on top of what I was taking with regular protein, creatine, pre-workouts, all that stuff and everything. So fully natural athlete. There's no difference there. I mean, there's ways in which that you can go about it for a natural athlete. I also think that guy, now that we're talking about it, and you and I said the same thing, the guy that I was going up against in the overall, he did not look fully natural. I swear that he was on a cycle and then got off of it while he was on prep so that he could be registered as a natural athlete. Again, there's tweaks in which that you
there's
can go
a lot
about
of
it,
loopholes you can go through about that. Yeah.
But the way that
it's hard to differentiate, man. He was a little bit older too, so his level of maturity and density, and muscle tissue. I mean, you're almost 29 years old.
Yeah.
You have someone like Austin. He's only 21, dude.
I know.
Give that dude fucking 7 years. He's gonna look so fucking grainy.
He has so much potential,
dense on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy had 5 years on you. It's hard to say if he was natural or maybe he has ran cycles in the past. And has built that muscle tissue to the point where he's like, okay, whatever. I'm a PCT.
Yeah.
Could have been on clomiphene. But regardless, he had a really good physique, and it was a good battle for sure. And that's definitely a rewarding experience to be able to beat someone that had a really solid physique, and you look back and you're like, yeah, I beat that guy.
Yeah. It was very cool, and we got good photos of it too. Photos and videos of me going up against him.
I have the whole video of you guys on stage.
So it was really good. Anyways, back to the OCB side of things. So for reference for you guys, in terms of like what you guys know, when you do an OCB competition, you don't get officially drug tested like urine or any other type of way that they would do it, hair follicle, anything like that, until if you were to win the overall. So if you win all your classes and everything, but then you go to the overall and you don't win, you're not going to get drug tested. If you do win the overall and you get everything, they take you backstage, they make you pee in a cup, and then they take that actual sample, and that's whenever they do the actual drug sample itself. So I won't know the full result. I'm going to be cleared. It's perfectly fine, but they should give that back to me within the next 2 to 3 days. And I have the paperwork and everything for it, but that's in terms of the drug protocols type of thing that they would go through. I don't know if some OCB competitions are different where they would do a urine analysis before you do the show, or if it's always like that where it's if you win.
I remember at Summer Shredding, that's what they did with the overall winner.
They made them go afterwards.
Yeah, it was after.
Yeah, so then I'm pretty sure it's the exact same.
Yeah, the Summer Shredding, the guidelines for that I think are a little bit different.
They're more strict with summer shredding. Mm-hmm. Like you have to be as natural as possible. I don't even know if L-carnitine or even SLU would be, if it would get picked up.
I think in L-carnitine would. I mean, it's the same exact thing.
I know.
It's just so it's going to show up the same way on a test. Yeah, so that should be fine. But with the SLU, that's a peptide. I would have to look that up. That's a new peptide, by the way.
Brand new.
That's what everyone's been taking to basically expedite fat loss.
Right.
To an extent.
Right.
Yeah. So you stack that with L-carnitine, and it will give you an edge, but that doesn't negate the fact that we put in the fucking work. Yeah.
I guarantee.
We could have not ran any of that shit. We could have ran
none of it and still probably would have done the same result.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just the level of input that you do and how much dedication you have for the sport and like what you want to get the outcome wise.
Yeah, it's a very robotic sport, meal timing, training at the same time, doing the same workouts. It's just a very structured, regimented, lifestyle. And if you aren't good with structure and routine, then don't be a fucking bodybuilder. If you're not okay with doing the same thing every day, doing the same lists, eating the same foods, then don't compete.
Simply
it's a monotonous sport. It's not the most exciting thing ever either. Mm-mm. It's pretty fucking monotonous.
And that goes straight into social media. It's everybody sees the end result. So they think that it's such this glorious sport that you get to this.
But they don't see the back end.
They don't see any of the things that you do in the backside at all.
Yeah.
They don't see what the coach goes through. They don't see what the athlete goes through. Everybody's lives are different too. Everybody experiences different things. Like there's a bunch of people that say like this was the most brutal prep that I've ever gone through just because of everything that I experienced while I was on prep. Mm-hmm. For me, it was relatively easy. I had nothing except for just the dedication of me prepping for this. So I was in and out of the gym. I did all of my nutrition. I did what I needed to do for our coaching team in terms of like the athletes that we have. At the time, at the beginning of prep, I was in my job with my co-ownership of the gym, and having that. So there was some stress involved, but it was never to the point where it would completely push me away from the prep.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, they're doing 9 to 5s. They're doing jobs that they then immediately after they get done or right before they go to work, they go to the gym and they get everything that they need to get done. So there's different levels to it.
There's so many variables involved.
So I think it's different for everybody. That's why people experience it, and maybe harder for some and easier for others. But the experience overall is a really, really rewarding and gratifying experience, because whether you win or lose, you're all accomplishing something that 99% of people won't do. They're not going to go to the level of nutrition and dieting and depletion on the body. And that
translates into life itself, right? Like if you're a successful bodybuilder, like you're going to be successful outside of that.
Right,
because it takes a certain level of fucking discipline and structure. Yeah, I honestly don't think I know or can think of any top level athlete who isn't successful outside of bodybuilding.
I would agree.
Yeah. To be honest, I can't think of any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes straight into the level of competition. If you're a lazy person, you're not going to do well on stage, respectfully.
Yeah.
So I think it all kind of just like transpires within itself. If you have that regiment and routine and dedication, you're going to do well in whatever job that you have. Or if you're an entrepreneur, then that's just going to lead into the level of effort that you put into your work.
I do want to circle back on the whole, how prep is different for everyone, just because I've obviously done a good amount of preps myself. I've had good preps, I've had bad preps, and I will say the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is your fucking environment. Yeah. And, even though I turned pro in 2023, that was probably the hardest prep for me, just because of my environmental change. Mm-hmm. Because I moved here from San Diego to be with Karina, my girlfriend, and I didn't fucking know anyone, dude.
Yeah.
I trained by myself almost every single day. I was, running my own business at the same time. It was very lonely,
Isolating.
Yes, it was very isolating because Karina was gone all day. I would go to the gym, I would train by myself, I would come home, I would do client check-ins. And, being that isolated for that long, in that period of time, it takes a toll.
Very much so.
Yeah. And I was like, when you're enhanced too, the hormonal changes are, a lot more dramatic than if you were to be natural. The crash estrogen and stuff and all the different compounds you're taking. Your adrenal glands being zapped, your fucking, estrogen being super low, sex drive being non-existent. So I will say, for anyone out there who wants to compete, make sure you're in a good spot with your life and your mental health. Just because if you aren't, the likelihood of the prep going smooth and the likelihood of your placing going well probably won't go in your favor. It could, but it's going to be a grueling prep. So make sure you're surrounded by the right people, and make sure your environment, is in a good spot for you.
Support system is everything.
Yeah. And as soon as we moved out of Fort Worth and moved up, to North Dallas, Frisco kind of area, started training at Destination Dallas, that's when I started to become a lot happier with my life. And that's when we met. Mm-hmm. That's when my network started to grow. I joined GASP, and things just started going, they just started clicking.
Yeah, we could touch on that in a second, because we're both with Evogen. That's how we officially met, was actually at a event for Evogen. So we'll touch on that in a second. But I wanted to continue this as well, because for me too, I think for you, because Karina, she's not a bodybuilder. She just competed once. So she's done it. She's put herself into the process. So she at least knows a little bit about the process and the steps to take for it. So the dedication that it takes and all that stuff. So she had a level of it that I think for me, my girlfriend, she's a realtor. She does not bodybuild. She works out, but she goes to a Planet Fitness to do certain levels of exercise just so that she can maintain her body, maintain the toneness that she wants. And then she primarily does Pilates, which she absolutely loves, and I love that for her. I actually love the fact that she's not a part of this world within bodybuilding, and it allows me to fully encompass myself within it. But I think she knows nothing about it. Even her showing up to the OCB competition, she said if I could put one word to it, she said it was stimulating, incredibly stimulating. She didn't know what to expect. It was just a raw, stimulating environment. She didn't know anything about it. She didn't know anything about the prep and everything. But she fully trusted in me to deliver for it. And all she did was just support me. She basically asked me, what do I need help with? And a lot of the time it's food. Like if I'm working out and stuff, or if I'm doing stuff for the business, if I'm doing stuff for work and stuff, if she's able to make rice for me, as simple as that, that helps me to be able to do the rest of my meal preps for the rest of the week. Or if she can cook the ground beef, she can cook the tilapia, like small little things that like help.
Yeah.
And then even for the competition, she prayed for me the night before, prayed for me the day of, sent me a text and said, congratulations on you even getting to this step. Like that alone is a huge reward for you. So just like go into it, just knowing that you're going to do well on the stage, regardless of what the outcome is. That level of support is what I'm talking about. Just somebody that understands. They don't have to understand the sport. They just have to understand what you are going through and the level of commitment that you have for it, to then be able to support that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. If they can support your character and your mental side of things and your belief in yourself, that alone is leaps and bounds beyond just saying like, oh, good luck at the competition, you're going to do great type of thing. Or even your coach saying like, all right, we've done all the work, like we got this going. If you are isolated, to your point, you don't know a single person, you're doing this all by yourself, it can be very demoralizing at times. It could drag you down. It could bring you to your lowest points. It's grueling. So to have that level of support, it quite literally means everything.
Yeah, because I've gone through really good preps. Like when I was in San Diego, getting my first overall at PAC USA, I had such a big support system. Mm-hmm. All my friends were there, my family. Mm-hmm. And then, going to nationals here, I had a support system. I had Karina and a few friends here. But the whole journey, the whole way, it was tough, man, because I literally picked up my whole business. Picked up my whole life to move in with a girl I had been talking with for 6 months, who I met on social media, who's actually with Evogen as well, funny enough. And that itself was just so fucking difficult, man. Yeah, but I ended up turning pro, and that was the best package I've ever had out of my 7 shows. But was I happy during that prep? Did I have an enjoyable prep? No. Not at all. No. And that's why I took, a good amount of time after I did turn pro to focus with life, catch up on things with Karina, just because, we didn't have that time to actually have organic, time spent together, because you take so much sacrifice when you're on prep, having to worry about your fucking meal every 3 hours, having to go to bed at the same time, having to train at the same time, you go out. And plus with nationals, that was during the holiday season. So, with Karina's family, she's Hispanic. So I show up, and this is, the first time I'm meeting them, and they're like, oh, like, please enjoy all this food. And they don't understand bodybuilding, man. Mm-hmm. And I just have to go no, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. And they just didn't understand. And I would just show up with my measly fucking rice and chicken, my tilapia cod at the time. And I'm just eating it while everyone's munching down on, pie, whatever.
I'm interested, so in those moments where it's, you go to the parties, you go to them for just random occasions where you go over for dinner and stuff, and they're saying we made all this stuff, if you want any of it, please have it, we made all this stuff for you. And they don't to what you're saying, they don't understand the level that you have to be at, where you're just making your own meals and you're bringing it with you and all that stuff. So you have to say no at that time. And in those moments, they don't understand. But when you got your pro card, or whenever you got the results that you did afterwards, did they ever comment back and say I understand it now? I get why out of all these times that you came over and we made all these foods, you couldn't have a single thing of it and you brought your stuff. Did they ever comment on that side of things?
No, and I think it's a cultural thing, just because, My mom, she still to this day doesn't fucking understand anything that I do. My mom, she came here to the United States. She's from Vietnam. And she doesn't really like understand what the pro card is, like what I'm really doing with anything. She just knows that I train other people, and that's what I do full time. But she doesn't understand like the sacrifice and, you know, what it took to get that package.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I make a comment on that just because Brielle's family, I think we went to a wedding. They had come down here and they stayed with us. My family all the time, every time I go over there, because they live in Grapevine, 20 minutes away from here in Frisco. I see them every other weekend, and they grill burgers outside, and they're eating all these things that like I want to eat, but I know what I have to be doing. So I bring my Tupperware with me, and I bring like 3 meals with me every time I go over, just because I know that, to your point, every single 2.5, 3 hours, I'm going to be eating my next meals and stuff. So they see that, and they would still ask every single time, do you want to have some of this? Do you want to have some of that? I made enough, so if you want some, you can by all means have some. And I tell them no. I even went to a wedding with Brielle. I brought 2 things of Tupperware with food already prepared. And mind you, we had pre-registered for this, or did the everything
That's
for
what
the
you gotta
wedding.
do, man, and that's what people don't realize.
And I brought it with me to the wedding and asked the chef there, can you take this to your microwave and heat it up for me, and then I will eat this at the wedding. And I did.
Yeah, that's what you have to do and it clearly shows, dude.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. Like, a lot of the work is on the back end side of things where, you know, no one can see, no one's watching, but those results deliver. And if you are cheating, like, it will show. Yes, 100%. Because when you are that lean, it comes down to the fucking finest details. Yeah.
Everything
I could
matters.
cut fucking 25 grams of carbs, you know, when you're 2 weeks out, and that will deplete the fuck out of you versus keeping those 25 carbs in.
Yeah.
Like, those subtle adjustments go a long fucking way. You know, how much water you're taking, cutting a half liter versus a liter, you know, your sodium balance, you know, 6 liters, 6, you know, quart teaspoons of salt, you know, all those little details come into play. And it's just organization, being, you know, having everything tracked, having all the data, backtracking, and being organized with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So, it's very analytical sport.
Extremely analytical.
It's just very number oriented. And I mean, I think that's why I'm good at it as a coach, is because I studied fucking accounting. Yeah. And I was going to be a CPA.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, fuck this. No, this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah, you and I have a very similar experience. Like, as you and I grow more and more close to each other, I think you and I have a lot of similarities. You on the accounting side of things, like you even being in the corporate world and then doing coaching on the side and realizing that it could be successful for you. You had, I think, like, what, 20 or 30 clients or something like that, and you were like, okay, screw this job. I'm going to go full-time on coaching and see if it works, and to this day it has. For me, I started off doing the same thing, not competition-wise, but just more like lifestyle athletes and everything. But I was a part of the corporate world as well, and then I got into coaching aspect to it, tried to take that full-time and everything, but my corporate job, I think, was just a little bit more demanding. I was in a sales role and everything, but it led me to opening up my own gym at the time with my other business partners, and that avenue was because of the routes that I took with bodybuilding, which then led me to EvoGen, which then led me to meeting you for the first time, and Karina and Blake and everybody a part of EvoGen, which then led me to stepping on stage, quite literally saying, like, screw this, I want to start going into bodybuilding and take it as seriously as possible. And then here we are now.
Yeah.
It's like full cycle and everything. But then even as all the way to our, like, families, because I think you have 2 other siblings and both of them have careers that are, like, in terms of prestige, like, they're top levels.
I'm the youngest of 4. One of my brothers, medical doctor at UCLA. He's going to be an anesthesiologist. He's on his 3rd year of residency. I have another brother. He was a chemical engineer at UCLA. He's about to retire, and he's 38 years old. And then I have a sister who is a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's me. Tattoos on my neck.
The black sheep.
The black sheep. Tattoo on my leg, on my butt, on my hand. And yeah, I was just different than my family. I don't know if I was just, like, born different, or
I'm the exact same way, like almost to a T. I have one older brother, not two older brothers and a sister, but one older brother who is also a doctor, and then he married another doctor. So they literally went from residency, making whatever they work for their government salary, to now making close to, actually well over $500,000 between the two of them.
Yeah.
And that's like in an instant. And they have that prestige of them both being doctors. So like some of my family members, they will play favorites because they have
They'll
that
put them
level of
on a
status and
pedestal.
everything.
Yeah, that's what it is, man.
So
like,
it's I don't compare myself to them, but it's almost like sometimes I feel like I have to because of the way that my family treats him versus me type of thing.
I think for me, it was like more of a lot, like I had to like lash out in some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be like, and just to prove that to my mom and to, the whole world, that you don't need to have a 9-to-5 job. You don't need to have a degree to do what you want to do to be successful. I left so I was in an accounting role, and then I transitioned into sales, and that's when I was doing coaching on the side. And I was totally comfortable making just, $80,000. I was making like 6 figures at the time. And I told myself, I was like, I could jump ship, do this full time, make $100,000 a year, and be completely happy with my with my life. I stopped giving a fuck about the money when I started making more money. Mm-hmm. Swear to God.
Which, even that is extremely hard for a lot of people, because once they start seeing the money roll in with it and they see how successful they can be with it, ego starts to come in. And then money can lead them on a lot of
And it's stressful running
paths.
your own business. Yeah, because there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and you couple that with bodybuilding itself. Mm-hmm. It's a sport where there are a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
Yeah. Very much so.
And, it's been 5 years now. But yeah, it's just part of life, and I'm glad that the timeline of things are starting to come our way with you getting your pro card, you finally helping me with my business or our business, just because I couldn't do this on my own anymore, man. I'm tired.
There's a lot of God aspect into it, and like fate kind of things, like timing of everything, and like how it's just fallen into our lap. Meeting you at, I forget what EvoGen event it was, but we went to some EvoGen event that Hani wanted to have at his private gym. Met Matt, and at the time I was still with my gym at that time with my business partners and everything. And I expressed that to Matt, that I own a gym, and he was like, holy shit, like what the fuck? Okay, let's talk about all these things. And he had aspirations to open up a gym with me, and we're still kind of in the process of putting all that together, creating a business plan. Like that'll start to come. We'll express that more and more. But
we've got a vision.
Things obviously fell through with my past gym, just differences of opinions, differences of beliefs, visionary aspects, and everything with my business partners that I have. And we can go on a whole different tangent for that and everything. But I think couple all of that with the entrepreneurial aspect that I then took, where I was in a corporate role and then took that leap of faith of going into a career path that was a little bit more entrepreneurial and running a business by myself, practically by myself, and getting into the level that it did, put a different belief in myself that I could do a business like what we do with coaching, get it to successful in that regard, and at the same time do bodybuilding and couple all of those and have success in all 3 aspects of it. Mm-hmm. And here we are, so we're only going to grow from here.
Yeah, so, I just want to move different, man. I just want to build a dope community, dope culture, with all of our athletes, all of our clients. Like, this is just the start. I want to build like something great. Yeah. And I'll start with, gym, opening merchandise, having a lot of local athletes too that can connect. And just having more of an organic feel to bodybuilding, just because I feel like there's so much bullshit with social media nowadays. Like, I want everything to be more organic. It's healthy.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's not healthy to be fucking online all the time.
And that's a huge part as to why we're doing this podcast. is to be able to just openly talk and just express our feelings, express what we want to talk about, talk about stuff that sometimes isn't related to bodybuilding, just like life in general, and just like have an open discussion.
Yeah, I feel like people, they need to hear that, because, you see a lot of these younger kids and this younger generations, they see all these big buff dudes and they see all like their cycle protocols and everything. They're just like, at first glance, they're so naive. It's like, I want to be like that. Mm-hmm. And then they have no fucking idea what they're getting themselves into.
No, and then they fall into the wrong path.
Yeah, exactly.
So we want to be able to create a little bit of that platform to where it's more of the raw, authentic, true, genuine side to this sport, and then ins and outs of the sport and what we deal with, because we have a lot of different things that we can obviously talk about. We have businesses that we own together in terms of like the business that we have soon, obviously a gym and everything, and like opening that up, but then just life in general and how we balance everything. We want to create this platform so that we can create a community so that people can see there is so much that you can accomplish while also having a balance of your life that actually is fruitful and fun. It's not just robotic and it's just like, I want to have to do this, but I have to post all the time. I have to do all these things. I have to show up online a certain way. I have to be this completely different character online so that people can see it, just so that I can have that status and then get the money that we do. And then once you get the money, you become a completely different person. Like, there's so many different avenues of the wrong way that you can take. And we want to be able to show you guys a route that you can take that is more fruitful for your life so that you can have everything that you want, but be completely complacent and remain a little bit more humble, but then just be happy with your life.
It's just more about being human.
Completely.
Humans aren't designed, we were not put on this planet to sit behind a computer all day and post images of ourselves. That's not how we're operated.
We're all compared.
Humans need to be around each other. Mm-hmm. Yes. And there's a fine balance between everything. Yes, we can do social media. And, that's what we're doing right now. This is fucking social media, our podcast. But we're trying to, converge this into more than just social media. Mm-hmm. An organic sense of bodybuilding, how it should be to be human, mm-hmm. and be a bodybuilder, be an athlete, and also have a balanced life.
Mm-hmm. And we'll incorporate that in so many different ways. Like the guests that we're going to bring on this podcast as well, majority of them will be within the bodybuilding space, but they all have... Somebody's camera just came off. It wasn't that one. It was Matt's. All right.
That was fucking good.
Yeah.
We talked.
This one's still rolling.
That one's still rolling? I mean, we can just end it, basically.
Yeah.
The guests that we'll have on the podcast and everything, we're going to try to incorporate ways in which we talk to them and kind of bring up topics that are not bodybuilding related so that we can see the different sides of them as well, so that we can show aspects of their life as well that are a little bit more raw and authentic. Sometimes we'll have guests where they're not going to be bodybuilding related at all. It could be just completely strictly business. It could be somebody who is just a very balanced person that we see, that we resonate with, that we want to incorporate like ideas that they have and they can share with us. And then it could just be like our girlfriends if we wanted to at some points, and we just have them and have them speak openly. We want to create this sense of this podcast that is very gratifying in all aspects of our lives, not just strictly bodybuilding completely. So, but in terms of that is our first ever podcast.